You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, well, happy Last of Us 2 release week, everybody.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing going on this week, I can tell.
Mm-hmm. We might have to, I'm going to see if I can rope Todd into coming back and give us a review, because I know he's going to be playing it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Have a nice little 45-minute review.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, detailed, right?
I mean, the reviews, they're coming in already.
They are.
And I don't know I don't know how to take this, okay? Something tells me that it is going to be a good game. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's going to be a well-written, great game that's going to be emotional, just like the last one was. But I saw people complaining.
They always will, though.
But not about the game. It was about the game's scores.
Oh,
The fact that you're starting to see all these positive scores and you're like, no game is this good.
Oh, so they're pissed they might get a very quality game. All right. Well, yeah. I've avoided a lot of the reviews. I've seen them coming in, and I've seen them mostly positive. So I left it at that. I know, games journalist, I'm probably supposed to dive in, but there's some things I don't want a ton of spoilers on either.
Right.
So I avoid some things. I'm scared. I've managed this whole time to not dive into those leaks. So, but I mean, oh my God. Well, I think it's another unfortunate side effect of too much quarantine, right? Mm-hmm. Like people are just searching for anything to talk about, complain about, find. We're just bored.
I guess.
I mean, we tried to cancel God one week for crying out loud. So, I mean, people are ready to, I don't know, just not be in the house. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spit my coffee out that morning when I saw trending attack and dethrone God. I'm like, what did you all do overnight? I just woke up and we're canceling God. All right, let me dive in and see what's going on.
Oh, the weekend has been insane. It's like every time I turn around on Twitter and there's a new hashtag, I have to know what it is. What was it? This weekend, there was Trump can't hold a glass of water.
Oh,
He's weak or something like that.
Just, yeah, and he needed to take his second hand up to push the rest of the water in or something. Although I'm not a fan of the guy, but I feel like that's a dumb thing to pick out and try to...
And that's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, what is everyone talking about? And then all I saw was just the picture of him holding a glass with two hands and we're like, ah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so bored,
did he struggle with that? Again, not a fan, just I was...
Yeah, I feel like we've got plenty of other legitimate things to complain about as opposed to whether maybe he was starting to drop a glass of water and then decided to help himself out. But
and then there was the he couldn't walk down a ramp properly. That was also attached to that, like he was struggling. And then someone dug up a tweet from 5 years ago where he was mocking Obama for this. Look at him going down that ramp. There's a tweet for everything. Yeah. It was really interesting and odd, and I was just like, this is what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, people, we just, I guess, need hobbies again or something. I don't know. Because I'm not going to say go out, like we're still doing pretty good, and some places are going up while others are successfully going down the curve. So, listen to your state, man.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're bored. Parks seem to be open. Get some fresh air in some places,
I guess this is one of those times, and we've discussed this before, I'm sure, that I'm okay being a homebody because I don't need to go out to a restaurant. I don't need to go out anywhere. I would like to when things happen, but I don't need to. I mean, if you can give it to me at home, I'm probably going to do that instead.
This is how we know as a country that for the majority of people are doing pretty well when your complaints our luxuries that we used to have, and we're demanding them back, where it's not like we're demanding a roof over our head and food in our stomach. We're demanding to get to go to the movies and Applebee's.
Speaking of which, I have to complain.
Uh-oh.
Because this COVID thing is killing me, man. It's killing me because, look, there's a movie. There's a movie that I'm dying to see.
Okay.
Godzilla vs. Kong. And I know I've mentioned it on this podcast before. But when it continues to get delayed, it got delayed again.
Yeah.
Again. And it was supposed to be out in March. It got moved to November. And I was like, all right. I'm just, be fine.
Right? Trying to be understanding. I get it.
And I thought, November's a good distance away. Mm-hmm. Maybe things will work out by then, and we'll get there. And then, no, May 2021 now. And I'm like, geez, I just want this movie.
A classic example right now of like, come on, man.
I mean, this. I understand it would probably be best in a theater, and I would love to see it in a theater, on a big screen, big sound, all that jazz. But right now, I'm just like, just give it to me on video for God's sake.
Whatever streaming service. Yeah,
I will pay top dollar for it. I just wanted to see it. I would right now, just I guess the junkie in me, just give me a trailer. I don't give a shit if it says 2021. Just give me a trailer. Just give me a taste.
Give me something, man.
Something, man. You've just been teasing it for so long. I just want to see it.
Got any more of that Godzilla, man? Come on. Where's it at?
I just want something, and they just keep dangling it farther and farther out, and it's killing me, man.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
I know. I keep going at some things too, but I just look out the window and I'm like, fine. I want them to be safe. I understand.
I mean, in all honesty, by the time the movie comes out, it better be the best damn version of that movie.
It might be a documentary by then. With the way this year is going, it might be a documentary of how the end of the world wrapped up here next year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll see. Fingers crossed, maybe.
I mean, I could believe we'd get a Godzilla here soon. I mean, why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Nothing makes sense anymore. So if the news said Godzilla was coming through, I'd probably be like, yeah, that tracks. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who would have thought 2020 would be this insane?
Roaring 20s for us it is. It is. Yeah, it's been something, ain't it?
Yes. I think that's an understatement.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What have you been playing?
Ooh, so this week, I finally beat The Watcher on Slay the Spire.
Okay.
Did one final tower of that, so now I can officially say I've taken all 4 characters through. I didn't gather. There's you can get 3 keys or gems or whatever that once you've beaten the final one that you could go on to another boss. Or, well, 2 bosses, I guess I should say. And so I guess that's probably considered technically beating it all the way through. Mm-hmm. But with just beating her once through the tower without actually gathering those keys and going through to the next one still just unlocks the rest of the stuff for her. So I'm considering that a win because she's very complicated to figure out for people who don't have a lot of patience, a.k.a. Lacey Finley. I also tried out a couple of the indies that you can find on that itch.io bundle that they have been selling for $5 for racial inequality. You can start it at $5. You can donate, of course, whatever you want. But now it's over 1,000 games, y'all. It's over 1,000 games. And the starting price, all they're asking for is $5. It's kind of insane. It's like $4,000 worth of games. It's crazy. So definitely go pick that up. I have no idea what I'm going to do with all these thousands of games, but I didn't care because it was for a good cause. So there were some really cute ones in there, and there's actually some pretty bigger indies, I would say, in that bundle as well. So my only complaint would be that itch.io site just needs to organize it better. Like, they're not even in alphabetical order or anything. It's kind of a mess to flip through 45 pages of games. You know what I mean? Like, not even having a clue what's going to be on each one. And I tried the search function, and it only searches per page. So it's maybe just throw in alphabetical. That's all, So if we want to try to find a game that we're looking for, it doesn't take us an hour. But again, that's my only complaint. You're still getting a lot of games if you even only throw in $5. And then I've been trying to get my island in order on Animal Crossing. It's kind of a mess, man. It's kind of a mess. I just kind of plopped everything everywhere with no thought into the future with how this layout might need to go. And finally started ponying up the bells to move some houses to try to get some semblance of organization going on in there. Because I've noticed... And if people are not aware, I probably are, for crying out loud. I'm probably one of the last people to start playing this game. But there's some websites for like turnip exchanges and things like that. So someone in my community get me privy to this site that some people who have really good turnip prices will put like a queue up on this site, and you can queue yourself to go in to sell your turnips if somebody's got like amazing prices. And it might take you a while if somebody's in like the 500s range or whatever. But... And so I noticed how they had it all set up because they don't want people just like wandering around on their island, I guess, and like stealing their fruit or chopping their trees or whatever you could do. They have it kind of like a gated off to just lead to the shop so I can go sell and just get out and not wandering around. So I kind of did that where I brought the shop closer to my airport and did like fencing around. And then everyone said I only had a 1-star island. So now I got to put like decorations or something so like the animals are happy or whatever. And I can get a 3-star island, which supposedly gives me an app in my in-game phone that makes moving stuff easier on the island. So trying to get that. So I was also Judy hunting because somebody made me aware of how adorable this animal is. And it's like pretty rare, I guess. I guess all of them are kind of because there's 400 of them. So I was island hopping to look for her so I could have her come live on my island. I never found her, but I stole a lot of flowers.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have to buy them. And I put them everywhere on the island, hoping everyone thinks that's pretty and will give me a higher rating.
Fair enough.
And I caught 2 of them singing by a pond the other day, and it was the cutest thing. Oh my God. Savannah just stood there and she sat and da, 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 da. And like, I just sat there with her for the longest time. Like, this is just the most wholesome, adorable thing in this moment that I need. And I just like popped on a little trunk and just... for like 10 minutes. She just looks so happy. So I recommend that game in your life right now. If you just need a little pick-me-up, just some wholesome entertainment, just go find Savannah. Okay. She's usually very happy. At least on my island. I don't know about on yours. My island, she's been very happy. So I've allowed her to stay every time she wanted to leave. Sprocket, on the other hand, can GTFO. And so can Diva. I actually pissed her off. I didn't know you could do this. I just started hitting her with a net over and over and over again because I don't like her. She's kind of rude. And she got really mad. Like her face turned red, smoke's coming out of her ears. She was pissed. And then she went and started a fight with Savannah. Oh my God. I felt so bad. I'm like, Savannah, I'm sorry. But she just went on a rampage. And Savannah was so mad. I can't believe she would say that to me. You know, like she was just beside herself. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I pissed her off. I literally kept beating her with a net. I thought maybe she'd get mad enough to want to leave because she's just kind of a jerk. But no. She's fine. She wants to stay. Someone told me they locked her in her house and that's how they got her to leave. Like they put a gate around her house because she sleeps in till like 11 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then if she can't leave, she gets mad and then she wants to leave. And then you're like, okay, bye.
See ya.
That seems a little extreme. But I mean, the sad thing is like, oh, what? Her coding doesn't show up on my island anymore. That's how I rationalize it. Like, I'm not really hurting anybody. I just want my island only full of adorable.
Fair enough.
Not a mean jerk. But outside of that, that's probably all the games I really dove into fairly hard this week. Obviously, I've been watching a lot of new stuff that's coming up, which is we got our work cut out for us today. I'll just say that. That's all. We've had a big week. What have you been playing?
Well, I'm going to have to go off on a couple of rants about the stuff that I've been playing. Because let me start with, since you brought up Animal Crossing, we're kind of on the Switch already. I'll start with the Switch.
Okay.
So this week, my son had left Smash Brothers for me to play, and I just hadn't got around to it since he left. So I had a moment I was kind of sitting out on the porch, and I thought, you know what, I'll play this for a minute. You know, kind of see if I can remember how to play Smash Brothers, see if it's anything like the old one. And if I didn't have the card, I wouldn't have been able to play it. Because for whatever reason, and I've noticed this comparatively to, say, just the PlayStation 4, if I bought Monster Hunter World and I downloaded it on both my consoles, my wife and I can play that game together with one game. I'm on one, she's on the other, we play it together. Boom. We only needed one. For whatever reason, my son has an account, or his account, I guess that's the best term for it, on the Switch here. But I cannot play the games he has purchased.
On your account?
On my account. I have to play them on his account.
I feel like I've noticed that with the Switch. There's a little gripes I have with the Switch that, like, for whatever reason got overlooked that you would think would be a duh moment to add. Like, why is there no cart in the Nintendo store? You have these sales that'll give me 15-cent games, 20-cent games. I'll freaking buy them just because they're that cheap. But you want me to, like, ping my credit card 10 times in a row and probably get it shut down because they think something's fraudulent's happening? Like, come on, guys. How do you not have a cart?
They would prefer that you just download the amount of money that you want on the shop, and then you can just buy from there.
You're not going to steal an extra couple pennies from me because I can't do math with tax, okay? Like, the States is stupid. We don't add tax until after you put it into the cart. So we rarely know how much tax we're going to pay. Unlike other countries who's like, hey, guess what? It's this price, and we've put the tax in the price. Not here. And I get that. They're based not here, but, you know, we buy a lot, too. Just freaking add a cart.
Well, I was pretty sure that at one point he had downloaded a game on there, and I went to play it, and I was able to play it. I don't know if something changed, or maybe it wasn't even his game, and I just didn't realize it. Whatever it was. But he had two games that he had, which were like the Mario and Rabbids game, and even Undertale. And I thought, oh, cool, I'll play those. You know, I haven't played those. I'd like to play them. And I was going to play them on my account. They said, you have to buy this. I'm like, but it's here.
It's downloaded, yeah.
It's already downloaded. It's like,
so that's digital problem.
Yeah. And it's like, you have to buy this. You can't play this. He can.
But
like
it let you download it.
Yeah. Like I could swap over to his account and play it, which is I know it's just a press of a button.
Still though, you want to play on your own account, not someone else's.
I shouldn't be able to access it or see it on the Switch if I can't play it.
Yeah, that's shady.
So it was just it's just bogus because it's downloaded on the Switch.
Yeah.
They just put it behind a lock because I'm not the one who bought it. So I was a little pissed about that. And the reason I even looked into it is because when I went to play Smash Brothers, it says checking to see if you can play the software. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And then it pops up with another little message. You can't play the downloaded material of this game. I was like,
I don't even understand.
Okay. So I can play the game because I have the disc or whatever the hell they are.
The little cartridges.
Little cards. Yeah. But I cannot access the DLC that he has purchased. So,
That's probably, I guess, so you don't sit there and just keep swapping them and they're not making money off of it. But still, I get
who's
it.
going to do silly. That?
Yeah. Case in point.
Yeah. I mean, if I wanted to play it, it's his game, you know? I'm not going to steal his game.
Yeah.
And I understand how they can justify it, whatever. I don't, it's his game. If I don't have the card, I can't play it. But to just access, I have the card. The DLC is downloaded. Just, why can't I just play it right here, right now? Because it's downloaded.
I don't
you
like
know?
that. Yeah.
Don't let me download it if I can't download it on this system.
I guess they're hoping that once you've got it downloaded, you are already wanting to play it bad enough that you might just go, fine, and just buy it.
Well, I'm not.
I'm just saying that's their hope, and I'm sure plenty of people were like, fine, you know.
So, But yeah, I played a little Smash Brothers just to kind of get a taste of it, and I played it on the Switch, mobily out on the porch, and it felt like one of those things I should have taken to the TV because it seemed a little bit more epic, but it did play like Smash Brothers. I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of familiar. I'm rusty, I'll say that. I didn't do bad, but I also didn't have my coordination where it used to be. Because I didn't feel like I was hitting the right buttons at the right time. And
you're a PlayStation trained like me. So if you're anything like me, you keep hitting A to go back because circle button.
Yeah.
And it makes everything harder for me because I keep hitting the wrong button. Just naturally, my thumb wants to go to the bottom for select. And nope, Nintendo decided that was back, or whoever started it first. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, I'm rusty. I used to be really, really good at Smash Brothers. And I guess I'm going to have to play it more to get back in the groove.
Build it back up.
Yeah, but it's definitely something I would like to play in full and really kind of get into it because the adventure mode seemed kind of interesting. There was actually even voice acting, which I was surprised at. I'm sure people have talked about that. But in the other games, they were just mutes. They would just stare and just make faces, and you're like, this is awesome.
A lot of Nintendo games are like that, or like...
But no, in this they actually spoke, and I was like, wow, they actually sprung for some voice acting. Cool.
Nice.
Then Saints Row. Okay. Look, I love this game. I do. But the glitches are really starting to get on my nerves.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. The game has crashed on me several times. Just, I'm in the middle of a mission or something like that.
This is the reboot, right? Or the
remaster, the remaster. And it'll just go down. Like I was in the middle of a mission yesterday that I've been trying to finish because it has been frustratingly hard for whatever reason. And I was so close. And then it crashed. And I was like, God damn it. I was right there.
Yeah. That's how controllers get broken.
So that made me mad. I came back to it, took a breath, finished it. I got through it. I was like, all right, fine. We're getting somewhere. I'll let that slide. But then something occurred to me. And then I started looking into it a little bit. And then I noticed there are a lot of trophies that I don't have. Story-based trophies I don't have for story missions I have completed.
Didn't pop.
No. And I was like, what is going on here? So I looked it up. Apparently, if you go into rest mode, it glitches the game and you won't get your story trophies for some reason.
Oh my God.
So I have so many that I should have by now that I don't have because the game has this major glitch. What is up with these trophy glitches lately?
I don't know. I
That's
feel
two
like
games.
That's a thing. Yeah, I see that quite often.
So I'm really upset because I'm not going back and replaying this entire game just to make that happen, just to have it happen again.
Sure.
Like there was like one story trophy that's one of those that you either go this way or you go that way that I would have to replay to get that far or to get that one if I wanted to because I didn't know you could. I didn't know about it ahead of time and they were like, well, just save your game and then just do one way and then do the other way. I didn't know. I didn't think about it. And it was just like, well, it's early in the game. I could replay that up to a point and just do that. But half the game? No. I love the game, but no, we're not doing that. So I'm really frustrated because I know it's nothing.
You're like, I don't really get anything. But
I know,
still.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I'm at least glad the others are popping, but it's just a story, man.
Come on. Yeah.
Come on.
Like, those should be they are the easiest to get.
Yeah.
Because you just happen to get them as you're playing the game.
And with them being the easiest, perhaps they can patch it to make them pop. Yeah. Because, I mean, as long as the progress is showing.
I don't know how that works, though, to be honest, because there's a game that I have on PC that my first playthrough, there was some that I should have gotten that never popped. And then having gone back, they're still missing. And one of them was like, having played the game for 25 hours, and I have 48 in it. So like it still won't pop, you know? So I'm like, do I want to play it all over again? Because that and like one other one is all I'm missing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know that I do.
I do have one that I'm actually surprised as far as playthrough. I think the trophy that I saw, because I was very curious, I looked into it because I remember it from the very first time I played the game. And it was playing the game. I'm almost positive it said play the game for 40 hours. And for whatever reason, I remember the last time that I did that, I felt like I had finished the game. I had nothing more to do. And to even get that trophy, I would just have to let the game sit.
Okay.
Because
and just let it run.
Yeah, there was just nothing more to do because I'd already done that. So it says 30, so something tells me maybe they pulled it back, or maybe I just breezed through the first game really, really quick last time, and I just don't remember. But I'm nearing the 30-hour mark and still have plenty to do, like story-wise.
Oh, okay.
So I'm really surprised by that. It might be the added DLC that they threw into the game, because I've been doing that too, so that might have something to do with it, where it's just kind of racking that up. So I'm really close to that, and I was really surprised because I was almost positive I had to just find stuff to do to even get that. So that's a plus, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't have to just leave my game setting, just make
it
pop.
I could be doing something.
But hey, we got news to talk about,
We
so
do.
let's talk about some news.
We have a little bit of news here today. We got kind of our work cut out for us. Today might be a little bit different, as I did some bigger chunks of news that we might have missed, and then we're going to chat because we had a lot of announcements this week, and him and I are pretty long-winded, so I think we're going to have plenty of content for you guys today with everything that we're talking about. One bit of COVID news, though, which we haven't had to talk about in a little while since most things have settled in, but Supermassive has officially delayed Little Hope, which was the next part of the Dark Anthology series. The cause of the delay, they said, is due to COVID, according to Pete Samuels, who's the CEO over there, saying their priority throughout has been the safety of the team. So they're now aiming for a fall release instead of a summer one. A lot of it seems to be a delay in the motion capture tech, which we have discussed here in the past, that if that was lacking in your game, that you're probably going to be the one having the hardest time moving forward right now. So as we've said, distancing is impossible to put mocap on somebody for hours at a time. So looks like maybe they got everything else done and now they're just waiting until they're allowed to, or safely can do the motion capture for what's left. But that's the only COVID news I have. So if you were looking forward to that this summer, hopefully they're on track for fall. But some other news. So we did get confirmation this week about that story we reported on last week with Lot Kessner and the whole music ordeal for the Last of Us 2 trailer. Last week we reported that the indie musician tweeted at Neil Druckmann and at Naughty Dog about a cover, or I should say her cover of a song by True Faith in the Last of Us 2 trailer. And if you remember, I was all sorts of confused because the tweet got deleted in the same day that the information came out. And I was just, I wasn't sure what was really going on here. But Neil himself tweeted an apology that there was definitely an oversight and she should have been given proper credit for her rendition of the song. So since then, she's tweeted that she is happy with the quick response and that it was taken care of, and she's now credited properly and all seems well between them. So, or at least on its face to the public, it looks like she was just happy she got the recognition that she deserved for her version of the song. So GG on that. And it looks like we're getting more Nintendo hacks, or at least to the point where they're adding it all up. There was more reports this week confirmed by Nintendo that an extra 140,000 user accounts have been compromised. So we are now at a total of 300,000 accounts at the time of this recording. According to Nintendo, the IDs have been accessed illegally, and the passwords of those accounts have been reset, and the owners have been contacted. So it sounds like if it happened to you, you should have received an email from Nintendo Nintendo saying your password was reset and to take care of that. They did say this isn't a security breach by Nintendo, but it was login data for accounts that were taken by other means. So I don't know. Nintendo has tried assuring its fans that out of the 300,000 cases reported, less than 1% have been illegally logged into. So they were offering refunds for the purchases that were made if this happened to you. And the payment methods affected were PayPal and bank accounts. Credit cards seems to be iffy. Doesn't seem like that information was stolen. So PayPal and bank account directly, although they may have been able to see your nicknames, date of birth, country, regions, email addresses, things of that. So just always keep checking your emails for sign-ins. Change your password ASAP if you get a message, and just keep an eye on that. Although I would rather not. I would probably just rather use my credit card anyway, to be fair, because like those are the easiest to put a stop payment on, as opposed to your bank account. And PayPal is just a garbage company all around, so I wouldn't trust them with anything. So I would use my credit card, just because if there's fraudulent activity, it's so much easier for me to ping it on my bank and they give me the money back right away until it's settled. That's my 2 cents on the situation. But yeah, keep an eye on your email, guys, if you got a Switch or a Nintendo ID floating around out there. We might have got a leak about an RTX 3080 NVIDIA GPU, which I found kind of interesting, which especially this early on with just having the 2000 series. But there have been some leaked images going around about a possible next-gen GPU. I don't know how I missed these rumors a long time ago in real time as it was happening. But you can check out Tech Radar if you want to take a look at this bad boy, because it's thick. He's a thick boy. And they say it matches the leaked images that have been passed around in the recent past. So maybe we have a new one coming out sooner than you think. But I mean, we're talking like 3 to 4 fans on this puppy. It's huge. I mean, it would probably fit my unit because I overbought on the size for upgrading purposes later on. But holy hell, if you've got a smaller PC, I don't think this is going to fit.
Oh, wow.
If all of this ends up being true and they haven't figured out a way to condense it and make it smaller by the time they would actually release it. But yeah, it's worth a check. I found it on Reddit and on Tech Radar if you want to check out that bad boy that we might be getting. Again, keep in mind these are leaks. Google had a little bit of a boo-boo this week too. Or I should say Stadia. It's always something with that, isn't it? So this week, Stadia accidentally put up a demo for Gods and Monsters from Ubisoft on their gaming service for about 30 minutes. Gods and Monsters, which is Ubisoft's next RPG game, which does not have a release date as of yet, went live, and a few hundred players apparently got their hands on it. Gamers noticed that a new game was on Stadia, which is probably easy to spot since there's not a lot on there, which was named Orpheus. So, gamers were like, cool, new game, click on it. Let's see what we've got going on. But when they started playing, they noticed they were actually playing a very early build of Gods and Monsters in all of its unfinished glory. So as you would expect, it was taken down and Google was ready with an apology. Regretfully, on Thursday morning, we mistakenly made an E3 2019 demo version of Gods and Monsters from Ubisoft available on the Stadia store that was not intended for the public to play. A few hundred gamers were able to play it for less than 30 minutes. We sincerely apologize to our partners at Ubisoft for this mistake. I had forgotten, but in theory it was supposed to be released back in February of 2019, but Ubisoft themselves decided to delay it because I was trying to think of how in my mind we've been talking about it this long and it would have been that early of a build. So, oopsie, and congratulations, I guess, to those who got to play it.
I guess my question in that whole ordeal is who did that? Because an old demo, this was not something new.
Yeah,
this
we're
was
talking
not
over a year ago.
I feel like you had to have purposefully did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I can only go off what Google said or how, for one, like, what is even Orpheus? And then we were talking about, because like Odyssey is another one of their games, which it was more similar. Like, I don't know, man. It's really, I don't know how you accidentally push one demo over another or what.
I mean, they had access to it.
But it wasn't even a good version of the game because it's not finished or anything. And there's some footage out there if you want to go check it out. Obviously, some gamers, recorded their gameplay to show. It's definitely not ready to go out, but that's all I can say to that. I don't know how you do it. But outside of that, I got a couple of little quick hits here. Death Stranding for PC is coming next month. We got the system specs here for you. The minimum seems to be even a little below PS4, but it can run if you were okay with 720p and only 30 frames per second. Windows 10, i5 or AMD Ryzen 3 1200. You need 8 gigs of RAM, GTX 1050 or better. That's just your basic. So if you want all the bells and whistles, get you an i7 or a Ryzen 5. You need, the 8 gigs of RAM seems to be about the same, or a 1060 or better on GPU. So that's only if you want to see it all super fancy at how it's supposed to run. So it looks like it's gonna take a decent PC to run on high.
I bet you I could run it.
Now. Yeah. I'm confident I can because I do have the 1080. It's not the Titan, but I have a 1080. I have 7 cores. I have, 16 gigs of RAM. I feel like I would be okay. I'm not going to buy it, but I feel like I would have worked well on it. It's just not a game for me, but congratulations to everybody who enjoyed it. Microsoft announced that Senua's Sacrifice Hellblade 2 is being built completely on the Unreal 5 engine for Xbox Series X, which I feel like we already kind of knew, but, official confirmation is always nice to have. Let's see. Resident Evil is Capcom's first series to receive 100 million in sales.
Oh, wow.
Which, when you say first, I would think, yeah, that's a lot of money, and it's been around since 96, but maybe that's not as uncommon as we thought to hit that sooner. So I guess congratulations. And that is including the new renditions as well, with rebooting 2 and 3 and all that good stuff.
It's a little disappointing, though, because I would have figured Mega Man would have been there, because
Apparently
you said series, so full series.
Yep.
And he's had games since the 80s, and he's not reached 100.
But still, you think? I think we can attribute a lot of it to the reboot of 2 and 3. Because think about it. You had this whole new audience of gamers who probably never even played the old versions. And then all of us who rebought it because it was a brand new game, the way they rebuilt it. I don't know. That's just my theory. But I would imagine a lot of it, too. I don't know if it adjusted for inflation for like what you would pay for a game in 96 to what we pay for a game now. I'm sure all of that's probably factored in somehow. But it's a long run to just get that.
Yeah. Well, but I guess also Mega Man's more of a... It's not as globally popular, I guess. It's got more of a... I won't say it's a full niche audience, but less people know who Mega Man is versus the Resident Evil series.
I've heard of Resident Evil, yeah.
I guess I can let it slide.
Write a letter or tweet about it. Apparently that's what you got to do. Just tweet about it. So I have some weird news.
What you got?
This is fun. I have a lot of questions. But I have to give props where it is due. And yes, this time it is kind of weird, I think. Whoever runs the socials for KFC is kind of brilliant. I'm just going to put this out here. So on June 12th, KFC tweets out a video with the hashtag #PowerYourHunger, introducing us to their future of gaming, a console, the KF console. It's a pretty well done commercial, I have to say. A big boy console in the shape of a bucket for the chicken, a warmer for your food, obviously, probably for your chicken. I mean, let's be okay. An optical drive for your games, the whole shebang, with glorious music playing as it reveals all the features with an end tagline: Power Your Hunger, November 12th, 2020. So I have no idea what this is about, but I'm here for it, okay? It promises cross-platform compatibility, true 4K resolution with 120 frames per second, 11 gigahertz processor, though. This threw me off. It's not a thing. I'm thinking 11 herbs and spices, maybe? Is that
Probably,
how many is supposed to be in the... Like, I tried looking at like, this isn't a thing. So I'm calling BS on this one altogether. I'm thinking it's going to be some sort of novelty item that probably is a food warmer, because if it's hot enough to cook your food. It's not going to be playing your games. It's going to be 100% overheating. They're like trying to say that it's so hot you could get your chicken in there to warm while you're playing. Then your system's going to melt. Like, ask other consoles. Supposedly Sony redesigned theirs because it was overheating. You don't want a hot box in this case. There's just no way I can believe this is real, but I have to read from this one article just because their description of it was so amazing, and I want to give them props here. So today, KFC announced its own surprising jump into the console market, introducing the KF console, an innovative new system that satisfies both your hunger for high-end enthusiast gaming and your actual hunger. The real secret sauce to the KF console is its patented chicken bucket chamber technology, which keeps your tasty drumsticks warm as you game. Instead of simply whisking away all the heat with a powerful cooling solution, the KF console makes good use of the 7 toasty thermals to actually cook your food. The chicken bucket chamber also acts as a combo space heater for those cold, wintry nights. So shout out to Derek Strickland from Tweaktown. I dug your description, so I had to add it in here. I would say go check out KFC's Twitter and watch the video because it was a very well done video. Yeah. If nothing else, I'm kind of on the fence about what's actually happening here. And you did give us a date. I marked it in my calendar on my phone to remind me on that day to go check out whatever the crap it is they're actually announcing. Who's making games for it? That's my thing. Like, if this is real, let's just entertain that thought for a moment. Cross-platform. So are you telling me I can stick in any Sony game, any Xbox game, or you have an optical drive? Mm-hmm. Who's making games for you?
I don't know. I'm so confused. There has to be something to it. There has to be an announcement of some kind.
They did give us a date.
Yes. So I'm there for the date. I want to see what this is, but I cannot imagine for 1 second this is a genuine console.
I can't either. I just can't. I don't know, but the internet's a weird place. It is 2020. I have no idea. Okay, I have no idea. This could be something. I mean, they do have 2 games. I know they were weaseling their way into the gaming market. Maybe weaseling sounds mean. I don't know, but they've been like trying to hit up gamers and influencers and all that kind of stuff. So I assume something.
Mm-hmm.
But Xbox definitely had the best reply tweet to them because underneath Xbox replied, "But can you lay it on its side?"
Burn.
But no, because it looks like a bucket.
Yeah.
So we'll see. November 12th, 2020. We shall see whatever in the world KFC actually has in store for us. And I'm here for it. I don't know. It's just when I was reading the specs, like the 11 gigahertz kind of threw me off. I'm like, am I supposed to be reading between the lines here? You know?
Yeah.
Because 4K and 120 frames per second, that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's what consoles are doing these days, right? So we'll see. I mean, mark your calendars, y'all, or just keep on listening in November because we'll let you know what it was when that comes around. So this week we have a lot to talk about. We have...
Yes, indeed.
Sony had a show, and PC Gamer had a show, and IGN did Future Game Show, and I probably stuff going on right now, actually. This is our E3, yo.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is about the time E3 would be going on. This is the time that we would usually be doing our E3 show. It's E3. It's
E3.
A different version of it, but it's E3. This is what's happening right now. So consider that E3 and a half.
Right.
Or something. I don't know.
I mean, it felt like it to me, because granted, I never go. I've always wanted to go to at least one. I might have missed that opportunity. Let's be real. Even before pandemic, E3 was kind of on the downward slope. We saw companies pulling out, wanting to do their own thing digitally anyway. But yeah, this would have been about the time. And most of all the companies that promise some sort of digital event so far, I've seen doing stuff like that. And of course, we've got Jeff Keighley doing the Summer Games Fest all summer long. So we're still going to have announcements and stuff out of them. But yeah, let's talk about that first one here. Or actually, I think we should save Sony for last.
Yeah.
I know Sony was on Thursday and it was first, but I think we should save Sony for last because I feel like we're going to have a lot more to dive into on that one personally, having now watched most of them. So I watched the PC Gamer Show. I don't know how much of that you caught. It was a 2-hour event. Over 50 games. They showed off within that 2 hours. And we had Frankie back, which was nice. You know, they only had the two announcers really this time. And I can always lean into the cheesy campiness of it all. Like he was in a smoking jacket and, you know, did the whole thing. They had a robot that was taking us through the world and interrupting and everything like that. And some people were like, this is dumb. I'm like, dude, lean into it. It's fun. They're just trying to make it fun. You know, not everything's got to be an Oscar award winning performance. You know, like this was great for me. Maybe I've just learned a lot about my own personality. Like if it's cheesy and campy and dumb, I'm here for it, you know? But there was a few that stood out. I don't know if you got to catch it at all.
Bits and pieces after the fact.
Yeah, I didn't see any like real big like hardware releases or anything like that. We were focused just completely on the gamer show. Ooblets looks like it was finally getting a little bit more of a in detail look. It looks like another really cute kind of simulation game. Like I haven't heard anything about it for a while. Honestly, I think the last I really heard was that big blow up they had when they went Epic exclusive and then everyone threatened to like literally kill them. It was garbage how gamers reacted to it. Even if you did put in for the Kickstarter, maybe just like asking for your money back if that's something you were promised on Steam and now you're not going to get it. Threatening that kind of stuff, just like give me a freaking break. But it looks cute. It looks cute. It still looks like a game I would want to play. We got a nice longer trailer for it, and I don't care if it's only on Epic. If I want to play it, I'm going to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's me. I'm just going to buy the game wherever. I don't have personal feelings towards it one way or the other. We had Evil Genius 2 World Domination that was showed off, which looks really cute. I'm really only going to pick the ones that stood out to me because, again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about 50 games in length. So, guys, if you're like, she didn't. Yeah, I've only got so much time. Okay, so we're going to be here a while anyway. But you can definitely go check it out on YouTube. But it looks cute. I don't know if you ever played the first one. It kind of gave me like 2 Point Hospital vibes with the way the art style was and everything. They're saying this year, 2020. So I tried to highlight the ones that kind of at least gave us either a release date or a window, because a lot of them were just, here's a new game happening. We'll let you know later on, which could be 2 years from now for all I know. In Sound Mind, if you're a horror fan, this one looked interesting. It was another like first person horror thriller experience. I picked it out just because I thought it looked really good. Yeah. I'm not a horror fan, but we might have some horror fans that are listening. I would keep an eye on that one. It does look to be pretty intense. Might be right up your alley if you're looking for some spoops. Definitely one to keep in mind. They're saying 2021 early right now, so you could be getting that fairly soon. Let's see. Inkulinati. I had to mention this one because it was so freaking weird to me. Did you see this one?
No.
Okay, so it's a turn-based strategy game, which is based on like those old manuscripts and like the monks from the Middle Ages. And you're playing as cats. I saw cats. I saw donkeys playing instruments. And bulls who fart.
Okay.
You get it all, apparently. I would check out the trailer. It cracked me up so hard because, like, it looks like a hand-drawn, like I was saying, on those old manuscripts, like you would see, and the bull would be animated and turn around and fart. And this was the focus for probably the first, like, 5 seconds of the trailer, and I'm, like, folding. I'm laughing so hard because I'm like, I have no idea what's happening right now, but I'm here for it. I want to finish it. So I recommend looking that up. I didn't get a date or anything on it, but holy crap, just the trailer alone, I want to pay attention to this game because they were a Kickstarter. I went and looked it up, and way over hit their goal. So there was a lot of people in the know about this that was pretty excited before I was. And thank you all for being there. So I got to enjoy that yesterday very thoroughly.
Apparently farting bulls are a selling point.
They really are. Like it made me write it down. Let me tell you that. But again, we've just discovered I'm a child. Cartel Tycoon. If you're into those kind of simulation games, that looked pretty good. Little Tropico vibes. Mm-hmm. You're a drug runner, but it looked well done. Graphics are pretty cool. Weird West from Devolver and Wolf Eye Studios, which was coming in 2021. I like Devolver. I'm usually always pretty willing to give their games a shot. They usually always play well. It'll just kind of depend on if you're into whatever story that they're hawking for you at that time or lack thereof. Sometimes it's really just about the tomfoolery and the mechanics of it all. And I'm okay with that too. Outlast Trials.
Boo.
I think it was teasing us a co-op this time. I got kind of like a DVD co-op vibes from it in that style of co-op. I mean, I obviously don't think we need more Outlasts, but I understand there's a market for it, and there's that group of people that really absolutely love them. And for what it was worth, the first game for sure was a unique, scary experience. To me, you got to change it drastically for me to be interested further out. I'm not a huge horror fan, so it's going to scare the piss out of me either way. But it looked like it played like Outlast. So if you were a fan of Outlast and always thought, hey, I kind of wanted to play it co-op, this might be what it is. That's kind of what I got from the vibes from the trailer.
You know what's funny with Outlast? It's kind of like you said, there's a market for it. It's not for me. I feel like that even in horror, with video games, it's an odd genre. Odd in the sense that I will sit there and tell you that I'm a huge horror fan in movies. Mm-hmm. And I can appreciate some horror in video games, but I've got a dividing line for whatever reason when it comes to video games. There's just so many, I don't want to call them garbage, but they are to me. They're horror games that just don't seem to understand what makes a good horror game. Very much in the same way that there are a lot of horror movies made, and I don't like them because I don't feel like people understand what makes a good horror film. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're
trying to really badly recreate something else.
Yeah, I mean, if all you're trying to do is just try to scare, jump scare me. You're missing the point of horror altogether. I mean, a good jump scare is fine, but when you're doing it constantly, it's just like, all right, you're taking me out of this because I just don't want to be here right now.
And now you're exhausted.
Yeah. So I don't want to be here. And it's interesting that I guess I'd never realized it until just now that I have the same feeling about horror video games that I do horror movies. I love it, but not all of them are for me. Mm-hmm. And Outlast is one of those. It's just, I didn't like it. Yeah. I just did not get into it.
I played it. I want to say the only time I ever play like real horror games like that is when I stream them. I'll try to do it as an incentive because I rarely play them. So the community thinks it's hilarious when I'm just getting the poop scared out of me for several hours. Or like around Halloween, like I'll join the bandwagon and stream a horror game or something. And I played the first one, and yeah, it was scary and it had tense moments. I think if I take myself out of that I just kind of get more freaked out playing horror than I do watching it. If I just ignore that side of me, I feel like a lot of horror drags too much. That's you'll have these intense moments where you're scared, you're running, you're doing this thing. And then there is just long drags in between for the next thing to happen until you get to the end and things seem to kind of roller coaster, like most games do. So that's my beef, really, is like I have way too many oh my God, this is dragging moments until I discover whatever the next thing is, or they've utilized the same mechanic to scare me over and over again until I'm bored.
A good slasher film should be 80 minutes to 90 minutes tops.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Yeah.
Because you don't have much going for it other than, hey, some guy's going to kill some people. How interesting can you make that? I don't know, but you got 80 minutes to figure it out. You go over that, tough.
And I'm okay with that short, nice, neat experience. And I think more people need to adopt that. It doesn't have to be a 3-hour event.
Oh, my God, no.
Yeah. But I would say probably New Blood developers, though. I just want to give them a shout out just because their little section was it was entertaining. They had about 6 different games to announce. So if you want to go to their website and check all those out, they had a bunch of quick blips of some different ones. But the fact that they put up a bunch of websites called notfortnite.com or all of this that would redirect you back, and just like his snarky attitude, which I think was picked purposefully for, the video. It was entertaining, and I just sort of like, that was good. GG, well played. They had like 6 different websites. I tried to write them down real fast in real time, but notfortnite.com just like stuck out to me, and I'm like, beautiful. They bought the domain, and it redirects you back to New Blood. Perfect, beautiful, love it. But I would say the biggest announcement out of the PC Gamer Show was the fact that Persona 4 Golden is now on Steam. Mm-hmm. I've heard already they said it's now. So as soon as that trailer was done, go buy it now. $20 is all they're asking for it. And I've already been reading reports of the fact that it is playing beautifully. So like it ported to the PC. Well, I'm going to pick it up today now that I've been reading that, because that's always my biggest concern sometimes is console games sometimes just don't port well, and the controls just get really freaking wonky. But now that I'm reading that it's been playing gorgeous, I'm probably going to pick that up. But $20 is all they're asking on PC, Persona 4 Golden. That was probably my big, like, every time a Persona game or something that I really love that comes to PC, like, I'm like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And I've not played this one, ashamedly to say. So I'm going to pick it up and play it on PC then. If it's playing well, that'll be my first experience with this particular Persona game. Because I think I played 3 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask, explain it to me. Because I've seen these games. I've seen these games.
With the Persona JRPG games?
I've seen them. I'm aware of them. Mm-hmm. But what is it?
I could probably better explain 5, because that's the most recent one I played that'll stick into memory. So it is like it's a turn-based strategy game, like when you're in the heart of combat. Mm-hmm. So you'll gather team members as you're going through the story that you probably want to take with you, up to 4 at a time. And it's kind of like a dungeon crawler. Okay. So once you go into your dungeon, whatever skills you've built up or the people that you've brought with you can determine how you're attacking these dungeons. Persona 5 was more of going along the line in someone's dreams. So as you were like defeating these towers, it was releasing whatever hold it had on whatever particular individual that was conflicted with it. Mm-hmm. So that's how it plays, and it's a lot of story. So you're getting an insanely long game with it. Sometimes you can put 40, 50 hours into it and be about halfway. Like, it's insane how much story there is.
You said JRPG. That explained enough.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing for me, because I like RPGs. JRPGs are kind of a harder sell to me, just because I don't get as into that style. Like, I know the Western audiences were just finally starting to kind of enjoy, or maybe we've just started finally getting them over here. It's kind of a smaller audience here on the West Side, of course. But usually it's a great story, fantastic soundtrack. You're in it for the long haul. And if you like turn-based, like dungeon crawler games like that, that's overly animated, because it is a Japanese game. So they're big, they're excited, it's bright colors. People love the music. I tend to turn it off, because any music that just plays the same thing, loop, 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 I start to lose my mind. But yeah, that would be my best way to describe it. And then you're obviously leveling up and collecting new skills and stuff as you go on. Now Persona 4, I don't know what its storyline is, but Persona 5, that's what it was people were getting ailed with whatever it was, and we would go into that and defeat that dungeon, which would free that person from it. And then so on and so forth till the final guy, till you finally get to who you're going to.
I mean, I'd seen gameplay. I think I watched Mammoth play.
Probably 5.
5?
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure what kind of game it was, because I saw a lot of story.
Oh, there's a lot of story, yeah.
But even the gameplay, the combat and stuff like that, I was like, I'm not sure what's going on specifically here. But again, I was at work, so.
Right. Yeah, it's like as soon as you come in contact with an enemy, you go into like a different kind of battle screen. And so like they're just standing there, and when it's your turn, you can cycle through, whichever of your skills you want to try to hit them with, or maybe you want to use it to protect someone else or heal or maybe GTFO if you bit off more than you could chew, and going on like that. But it is a lot of fun. Okay. But you got to be willing to know you're gonna be at it for a while if you want to get through the whole thing. So you always get your money's worth. So that's why I was kind of surprised they launched it at 20 and not like 40 even, which would have still been less than a full price game. But
it's
go
an
get
older
it.
game, So
I know, but still a lot. I don't know.
I know. No, I agree.
When people are always equating length to value, I'm like, look at the value on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not the person who does that unless like I had to pay $60 for like a 30-minute game. Then I'm like, you know what? Wait a minute. Other than that. I didn't get a whole lot from the Future Game Show that like insanely stuck out to me. There's 4 that I felt was worth mentioning. There was a lot. It was another 2-hour show, but some of it was repeats from other trailers that I've already seen presented. Like even when they did some of the talking heads shows, pre-show stuff, they showed some stuff that wasn't a full trailer, but kind of rehashing it. Sherlock is getting another game. Chapter 1 is what they're calling it. I liked those Sherlock games. I thought they were actually DOA. But this one looks as much fun as the others. It says it's coming to PC and consoles sometime in 2021. If you liked the style of the other Sherlock games and you like that added mystery and everything, it looks like it's going to play exactly the same way. I'm here for it because I always liked those games, and I thought they were gone forever now. Operation Tango also looked fun. One I think you might actually think is fun, too. It's supposed to be out in 202021.
Okay.
I think it's a co-op game. Since we got a PC that might can play it, we might start playing it. It kind of has like that 70s vibe with this really fun color scheme and the music, and kind of like an investigative kind of thing. It looked kind of cute, and of course I went, maybe I could get Steven to play a game with me next year, but hopefully sooner. But this one's next year. Another one was Werewolf the Apocalypse. It seemed intriguing enough for a 30-second look. I mean, this was a very, very brief trailer. Very, very short. It promises, though, that we're going to get a full game reveal in July. So if you did that well with that tiny little teaser there, I'm interested to see what it was. So looks like we're getting a lot of werewolves getting thrown into stuff this year.
Yeah.
Another theme I noticed, lots of sci-fi this year.
Yeah.
Lots of sci-fi. We all want off this planet really damn bad, don't we?
But it starts to become derivative, I will say that, because sometimes when you see the same, and this is not just sci-fi, I'm talking like all games. When you show me a first-person shooter, we're back in Viking times, or we're in space, and they all start to run together because no one has this unique style, or they just don't have a unique game. That makes me sit there and go, you know what? That really stands out. I am so eager to play that right now.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot with a lot of the trailers that were coming out. As I was looking at so many of them going, I've seen this game. And I know I've mentioned this before on the show several times. Give me something new.
Yeah.
Even, and I hate to even say this, but I've even started to notice certain indie games are starting to emulate styles of other indie games that were popular. And now they are slowly starting to get to that point where it's just like, I've seen this before.
Right.
This was somebody else's game, and you've just co-opted it for your own.
To be fair, if you're doing that, I don't mind if you're adding some sort of unique hook to it. Because we probably are getting to the point, like we've discussed, graphics, art styles, all of that's kind of varying. But now, how are you making it play different, or the feel of it?
Yeah, and I guess from art style, I'm not really complaining all that much. But when you're presenting the game with that art style, but you're not showing me what makes your game different, then I'm just starting to think, well, okay, you're selling it on the art style alone. It's great, but I've seen it.
Right.
Well, what else you got?
You got to show off the unique hook of it, for sure.
Yeah.
You can't rely on that. And if you don't have one, maybe rethink about what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, think going back to that game, A Fold Apart, that I mentioned. That was the first game that popped into my head. That's the most unique indie game I've seen in a long time, because it was not like something else that I had played recently. It was something wholly unique. The mechanics were unique, folding paper, and I know we've seen that in Paper Mario, but not like this. You know what I mean?
The way they
this was
implemented
trying to
it.
get from point A to point B, and you've got to figure out how to fold your paper and flip it and turn it and to get to your next destination. It's unique. It was different. And even the art style, very unique to that style. It worked. So I want to see more indie games like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about. That's why I'm excited for Evergate to finally release, and I know I can play it right now.
Yes. Like it has,
got
but
the
it
beta.
hasn't, right? Like it is released, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's unique.
It's a
I couldn't
unique
think of
game.
another
And
game.
gorgeous. And yeah, like
I can't think of another game now that has that style.
right.
So I don't know.
I mean,
want
it
more
does
these
kind of
indie
have
games.
maybe a little Ori style.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. I could see how those comparisons, and that would, all right, that's fair. But the actual execution of the puzzles in that is very unique. I've never seen a puzzle game like that. Yeah. And if there are, please tell me. But I mean, I've gone through quite a few indies in my day, and I haven't seen that one yet. You know,
Yeah.
even
I
a
need to play
AAA,
that.
I haven't seen implement that kind of puzzle.
I want to play it now.
I know, right? Like as soon as we're done here. And then the last one is Made of Skur, which, and I might be saying it wrong, I don't know. It's the next Wales interactive game. It's a horror genre, which they've been talking about it for a little bit now. But it's first-person survival horror, which is inspired by Welsh folklore set in 1898. It seems like the big hook on this one is silence.
Silence. Okay.
So it is like a stealth game. They attack the monsters within this world attack based solely on what they hear. So you even have to watch out how heavy your character is breathing, because panting could get you killed.
Oh wow.
So that was kind of the unique hook that I saw there, where it's like you even have to gauge the stamina of your own character to ensure that you're not gonna get murdered. There was 3 different levels of difficulty, which can change the enemy behavior and how much you can save the game, things like that you would expect to make it a little more complicated. It's due out on PC and console here soon, so keep your eye out on that. I picked that out just because Wales has always brought good games, in my opinion. I've yet to play a Wales interactive game that I've not enjoyed. And even though this is horror and not necessarily one that I would gravitate towards normally, I probably will, just because the quality of work that's come out of them so far has always been to note, in my opinion. So if you're into horror, I would recommend checking this out just because from Wales alone. And I'll eat my crow if it ends up being terrible. But so far, they've never let me down. So let's talk Sony.
Yes.
Because that was kind of the for me, the most enjoyable of the conferences that I saw this weekend.
If I may say, what Sony did, what they presented, felt very much like the state of, well, not the state of play, but their kind of like their E3 showings that I always told you that we'd go to watch in theaters. Before that last one, which was just, I don't know what the hell they were doing. Like, they just got bored and was like, here's 4 things we're going to show you, and there you go.
Well, I think with it being like a new console year, too, that...
But this time, this felt like one of those old shows. Like, I felt like I should have been sitting in a theater watching this like I had in years past.
Would have been nice, right?
Because it was just boom, 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 boom. New game, new game, new game, new game, new game. And I was like, yeah, all right.
I feel like they pooped on their beginning. GTA 5, that's the first thing you want to hawk. Like, come on.
But
look, I get it. And I'm sure Bethesda's over there licking their chops too, because they're excited AF to repackage Skyrim and charge you $60 for it again. But like, we get it. Like, that didn't need to be the first thing. It could have been like some little quick blip at the end, like, oh, and by the way, we'll make sure GTA works on PS5 too.
But
like,
why not?
This is a PlayStation 3 game, for crying out loud.
But why not get it out of the way? Because that was the only rehashed game that they really showed. So it was just like
they should have just packaged it up in one of those quick little snippet things. And
I actually think that was smart. I will say that. I think it was smart because this is an old game. And you're just like, hey, you remember this game? Hey, we're gonna put it over there, okay? Cool, great. It's out of the way. Now let's get to all the new stuff. Because if that would have popped up in the middle, people would have been like, the hell, I don't want this. You know? They put it up front, said, here's an old game, repackaged, repurposed, remastered. You're gonna get it. and you can get extra money, $1 million or whatever
GTA
the hell.
bucks. I don't know what it's called.
Every
GTA
month
bucks.
until it releases. And I'm like, I don't play it because there are a lot of assholes online that ruin it for everybody. So I'm not going to play it. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. I guess
Smart
you're
move,
right,
I
but
feel
still.
Yeah. I'm with you. I was just like, well,
Yeah. Let's see. I know one you were excited for.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about that Spider-Man, man.
Okay, because I'm glad we finally got clarification because that was the big question. Is this a
Conflicting
sequel?
reports.
Is it a remaster? Is it from everything that I've heard, solidified? I'm hoping, and hopefully this is not going to change before this comes out, or even the week past, or whatever.
At the time of recording.
This is going to be a standalone game, much in the vein of Uncharted Lost Legacy. I hear that was the common thread that a lot of people kind of use because it's not
like it won't
really
be a full price, but
not a full game, not a well, it's a
like
full
maybe
game.
a 20-30 hour experience.
Yeah, not a full game, but it's a game. You're going to get some time in it. You're going to get to play around. And I honestly feel like this is a smart move because now because something tells me even if we get to play Miles Morales in Spider-Man 2, whenever they get around to that, I don't feel like he's going to be your primary Spider-Man. I think you're also going to have Peter. I would love to have like a trade-off. You know, maybe 1 minute you're playing Peter, and then you have to play as Miles, and then you get to play as Peter. And then, you know, or you can pick and choose whichever Spider-Man you want to play. Because that would be great too. You know, play Peter's story, and that goes this way. Play Miles, you go that way. I don't know. It's whatever way they want to do it. But this allows him a chance to have his own story without Peter. And we're getting to play around with his new powers because it's not just Black Spider-Man. Okay? If you don't know anything about Miles Morales, he is not Peter.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of that character that I love so much. They didn't just say, just make him black and he's still Spider-Man. No. He has a completely different power set. He has things that he can do that Peter cannot. And that's what makes him unique as Spider-Man. He is his own Spider-Man. So you get to turn invisible. You got this Venom Blast, which is awesome because it's like 2 fingers, pow. And people are like, what the hell was that? And it's like, wait for it. Boom. Go flying back. That's the one thing I love about Miles is he comes up on him and he's just like, what? And they have no idea what happens until, boom, 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how they do this. I really feel like this is almost a way of giving us a little taste of what they're doing. You know, play around with the mechanics, play around with what it would be like to add those elements into the game that they've kind of already done. Because it's not going to be the same. You know, your combat style is going to have to shift, especially if you're having to do stealth. And that Venom Blast, you know, it's how do you incorporate that into the game without being overpowered? Because it's a pretty powerful move. So it would have to be punch, and then you have to kind of go in like that, and that's a stun. Your combat has to change.
Yeah.
So I'm eager to see what they're doing here, and I really feel like this is a testing ground to see what they can do right here, just to play with it before they expand it into the much larger world, because you're going to have to feel it out and figure out what works and what doesn't. Maybe they haven't quite figured that out, so allowing people to play it, they can get some feedback.
Sure.
And then adjust as necessary, because he is a wholly unique character. He does have certain elements that are similar, but he is also different.
Yeah.
And I like that. Another thing I would like to see as well is that they don't essentially palette swap Peter when it comes to his movements.
Yeah.
And even his web swing. I want to see Miles, like if I see web swinging, I want to see him move in a way that feels unique to him.
Right.
Like he's not just mimicking how Peter swings through the air. Certain movements. It could just be the way his hands move, the way his legs are up. I don't care what it is, but I want it to feel like you can look at it and be like, that's someone different. That's not Peter.
A new person in there, yeah.
So that would be a nice subtle touch, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was really crazy that like Sony was saying DLC, and Insomniac's like, no, it's a full game. So I'm gonna lean towards Insomniac, knowing because they made it.
Mm-hmm.
Sony probably gave the money for it, which, hey, I still feel like Sony getting Insomniac was a really great call, man. Like they got good stuff, so GG Sony for doing that.
but at the same time, maybe that mentions
maybe that
something.
means there's more than one thing coming in.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe there is a PS5 Spider-Man remaster coming to the console that they didn't necessarily announce, but they wanted to, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's going to be DLC. It's like, no, you're getting
got the wrong guy on the Twitter responses that day, and like, oh crap, I said the wrong one.
Yeah. So who knows? We might get both. But this year,
it says holiday 2020. Yeah, so it might be like when the console launches, man.
That to me, that is a smart move because look, I was already talking about getting it, but I was thinking of waiting. But oh man, you're kind of making me want it immediately because I really do want to play that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a hard sell.
It's going to be hard to grab one. I tend to like to wait to buy consoles like a year or so out just because there's always like first gen bugs or something that happens, and they were already a little concerned about it overheating. So I feel like I've always been really good about being patient in the past to just like let it settle, let them get it fixed, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, this one might be hard.
Yeah,
I think the price is all that's gonna determine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We've got to see that price tag because
and we already know the availability will be lesser than even PlayStation 3. So. But you might not even get a chance to get your hands on it right away unless you want to, pay some scalper who wants to sell it back to you for $15,000.
Mm-hmm. But right now, we don't even know. We don't know what it is. So
let's see here. Although I don't play them, I feel like bringing up the racing games because I mean, it really is a good judge of the graphics because they do look nice. It's not a genre that's ever sucked me in, but my God, dude, they look nice. I do have to admit that. They look so good. So in particular, this time they were talking about Gran Turismo 7. I don't know what it is, man. It just seems like when I see a really good racing game like that, like just the graphics really pop. The weather seems to look so good. I don't know what it is about those games.
And maybe they have all the resources to focus in on that because they're not having to do anything else but race around a car so you can make it look as great as you possibly can.
That's probably a fair point.
So
that's really the only mechanic you got to worry about in there.
But yeah, I'm with you. Racing.
Yeah, it's not my bag, but man, it looked good. It really did look good. Ratchet and Clank though.
Yes.
Insomniac, there you go, man. We actually got gameplay.
Actual gameplay. Oh my God.
Sup? It looked great. I mean, just the textures on them alone. Like, that's what I think I honed in the most on when I was watching a lot of these trailers for PS5. And even on my Garbo monitor, man, where all I'm getting is 1080, regardless of what it's pushed out to me in. They look, wow, like just the little hairs and the textures on it and the way it blew in the wind. And like, it was just, wow.
Clank. The reflection, color reflection, and everything off of him looked so amazing, and it's something I didn't really think about until I watched it again, and then you compare to the PlayStation 4, and you're like, oh my God, look at all the detail on this character.
Yeah,
just because of the ray tracing, it's just insane.
Yeah.
But
and then developers are saying like this kit or whatever actually makes it easier to develop. So I'm like, and this is just our first round going out, yo. Think about once they really start making good use of all that.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited for it now that I've gotten to see some of it.
Yeah, I was actually so glad that I did play that series because I know it's an older series, and I think I'd played. It wasn't a legit Ratchet and Clank game. It was like some spin-off type multiplayer thing that I can't even remember what the hell it was called. But when I played that, I was just like, I'm not kind of digging this. So then I think the Ratchet and Clank remake that they did, I want to say it was a PlayStation Plus game. And that's the only reason I got it, like to play it. So I downloaded it and I was like, you know what? I'll give this a go. Why not? And I was hesitant to do so for whatever reason, because I thought maybe I wouldn't get into it. Maybe it wouldn't be my bag. And boy, I fell in love with that game, because it was a kind of 3D platformer I have not played in a long time, but a solid 3D platformer with great mechanics. Just fantastic. So seeing that, I was super excited.
Yeah, it looks great. And I hadn't really played a whole lot of them either, but this one looks cute. I don't know. It just looked great. That's my biggest takeaway, I think, here is like I can see where the upgrade came. I can see that. Let's see here. Annapurna had an interesting one that they did too. Stray. Where it looks like you play as a little kitty cat in a post-apocalyptic robot world where all the Commodore 64 monitors went to their final death.
Yeah. I mean,
but it does look cute. I mean,
yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? I don't know.
I don't know. But I'll play as an adorable cat. I'll do it. Let's see what's up with that one. It just looks interesting. And Annapurna tends to do some really good stuff too. I kind of gravitate towards their games as well. So I'm here to see what's going on with this. Let's see what else is a good one to talk about here. Sackboy. That looked pretty interesting. Was it another what was those games?
Littlebigplanet.
Thank you. Littlebigplanet game. But again, the textures just like
This seemed to be more of an adventure game with Sackboy versus, hey, build your own worlds or whatever. And it seemed more
the co-op thing.
3D. Yeah, and the co-op. There was co-op. That was a question I think my wife and I had when we were kind of watching. So with Sackboy, with a Littlebigplanet, you always got to create your character. Are you going to have that opportunity in this game, or are you going to just be Sackboy and all the other characters that they showed you? Because to me, I feel like creating and customizing your character would be a smart move, considering
people love to do that.
Yeah. And that was a big feature in Littlebigplanet. So to remove that, I understand it's a Sackboy adventure, but
yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know. I didn't think about that. But I mean, they did name it Sackboy, so I guess I wouldn't be surprised either way at this point if they decided to just make that the protagonist.
I feel like that would be a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you're creating friends to play together. Friends create their own character. Everyone looks unique. Come on, man.
I mean, it might, and they just didn't show that off yet. Because, I mean, I don't even think they gave us any kind of window.
No.
Unless I just forgot to write it down. But it just looked good.
Yeah.
I think that's just like, I'll just assume from everything here on out, I was mostly impressed with just how well everything looked. Ghostwire Tokyo kind of surprised me too. We got a longer look at that. And not what I was thinking, I'll be honest with you at first. Like this one, it's still probably not, I'm not the market for it, but this trailer made me more interested in it than I had been in the past with what little bit of information we had before. Yeah. But I mean, again, it looks great. It looks like it'll play well. It looks more creepy than I thought it was going to be. A little bit more crazy than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, if you're into like those kind of like fighting games where it's like the hack and slash kind of creepy vibe or whatever that's going on to it, check it out. Like I don't know. I just wasn't expecting that when I saw it. It's not what I thought the game was about at all. I was excited to see Hitman 3. I don't know about you.
Hit and miss.
I like the new season thing that they've done. You know, I out of 1 and 2, I still think I like the first one better. Just because I feel like the story kind of flowed a little bit nicer. 2 felt very weird how they did the story, like with just these little like vignette pictures, and whereas like in the first one they actually animated the cutscenes and all that stuff. It was really strange, and not like a ton of story. And it's Hitman, so I'm not like expecting some like huge storyline. Like you the mechanics and how it plays is what people are after, but that's what I would hope to see with the new one. And it looks like, you got more ways to off people, and there was no gameplay on this one. Again, I'm sure it plays like Hitman though, so I'm not like that worried about this one. And I mean, look great in Unreal 5. So they said this one's completely in Unreal 5. So I was happy about it, saying January 2021 at this time. So we'll see. I'll probably play it because I think I've played every Hitman to date.
I never finished.
Even the horrible ones.
Yeah. I never finished. What was it? Just, it was Hitman, wasn't it? The remake or whatever. I guess it was supposed to be.
The first of the new trio series, whatever.
I really don't know what it was. I loved Absolution. That was the first one that I played that I really got into, and I tried going back and playing the ones prior to that, and I was just like, well, I can't do that because that's rough.
Some of them,
that one I was obsessed with. Like, I loved every setting they put you in, every little situation.
That's why I think you'd like the first one, because they kind of went back to that old formula. Which is why I think I liked it. It was the seasonal thing that kind of threw it off, I think, a little bit. But, like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Got it all at once.
I feel like maybe I was just always slipping up, dropping the ball, or certain elements to get where you needed to go weren't very clear. And then it would just trigger something, and I would get screwed over. And I just kept getting frustrated. I was like, man, come on now. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing everything by the book. I'm trying to be stealthy, and then before I knew it, I screw up, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I think I just got frustrated with it because I never was quite sure where to go half the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I feel like they gave you, like, the points. And it depends if you were achievement hunting or not, because they would tell you, like, you'd have to click through the different screens on, like, the pause screen to accomplish this trophy or whatever. You've got to kill them wearing this uniform on this side of the house or whatever, the requirements they would put on you. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm excited for this one. So I'm just hoping, the gameplay is still the same. Honestly, I don't really want you messing with that. Maybe fine tuning a little bit of it, of course. But story, it's really just would be a story. How are you presenting it this time to me? Let's see. Little Devil Inside was another interesting one. The back and forth in the trailer, how they did the protagonist and the older gentleman, just kind of amused me too. And there's dragons.
Yeah.
That's always a plus for me. And it did an interesting art style. I want to keep my eye on that one as well, because the art really did stick out to me.
That was one of those that I remembered, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is kind of unique. It has similarities to other things, but I couldn't necessarily pinpoint one game that it reminded me of. It was just like, oh, this is unique. It has my attention.
Exactly. And again, that's what we want to look at. Bug snacks, though, I'm on the fence about.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Very weird. Like, they turned into fruit and stuff.
Yeah. And then we had
an Australian strawberry.
Australian whatever. We're eating bug snacks here. I'm not making fun of the Australians. I'm just doing an accent.
Actually, I wish I could talk like you. It's a much more fun accent than mine, I think.
I love it.
But it's the creators of Octodad, so that should have told us something right there. So you can play as a bunch of different bugs and fruit and eat things. I don't know. I mean, haven't seen anything like it.
No,
and it did look nice. So I will be interested to see what it's about. Honestly, we're asking for new stuff. Here we go. Weird or not, I'm here for it. And I like that we got a longer look at Deathloop. I know this is one that we had saw, I think, last year E3 also. Maybe even the one before. But we got a nice longer look at it. And there was one that caught my eye last time I'd seen it. Forgot about it for a while because y'all keep loving to announce games 20,000 years before they release. So yeah, I forgot about it because it's been a while. But yeah, it looked like a nonstop party game. I don't know. You got to get these 8 targets killed before midnight. And you also get to loop, rewind time is looks like one of the mechanics. So if you want to go back and try to do it a different way, and you've got Juliana Block who's trying to interfere with you each step of the way. So yeah, and again with gameplay, that was nice to see, and actually a lot of gameplay it looked like. I'm hoping I'm not getting completely bamboozled by this in-game engine stuff anymore because everything looks so much better. So to me, it looked like actual gameplay. Maybe my eyes can't tell the difference now until I'm actually playing the game, since we're hawking a new console and all. But yeah, that's one I'm looking forward to. Bethesda.
Sure.
Come on, do it right, please. I want to say good things about you now. Oh my God. Finally, finally, Village.
Yeah.
We can stop rumoring the absolute crap out of it. We know it's here. It's coming. We've seen it. My God, the amount of rumors for the last year have been just... I feel like that's the one rumor I always see popping up when I'm looking for a truth or trash. It's always about Resident Evil 8. So we're done. The leaks we had were good. Because we can stop... there were werewolves. There were witches. The setting... tracks out to, the leaks that we had been hearing in the past. So there you go. Although I think it's funny that, I guess we can't decide on how Chris looks. I don't know. He's a little bigger boy now in this one. Got some snacks between the last one and this one. I don't know. Or however he works into this world for this one. But the developers also had a nice little long 4-minute talk, a little bit more in depth about it, if that's something that you enjoy listening to. I thought they had some good points to make in there. It's only about 4 minutes long. You can check that out on their YouTube channel. There was no announcement about VR for it. So I wonder if they're not going to try to venture back in. Because, it's still first person. You're playing Ethan. We got all that confirmed, and 2021. That's what we're looking at right now. So if you're excited, here you go. No more rumors. It's coming. And they're calling it Village.
Yep.
Not Resident Evil 8. The 8 is hidden in the village. This is what they say. So it is still 8. Take that whatever you will.
Whatever.
Yeah. And the other game that I'm sure you're excited about too, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, I was hoping, I didn't have any expectations to see it, but I guess once I started hearing her voice, I was like, yes, oh my God, yes. I shouldn't have been surprised, and it's like there was this slightly surprised, but not as surprised as I should have been, so it was a little surprised, because, again, should have expected it, but wasn't anticipating it. There you go.
Sure.
That's it.
Which is what I liked about this event, honestly. I went into it kind of blind, not knowing what they were going to announce. And that's more fun for me.
Oh, yeah.
I actually wish I had people that I was sitting with, because there were some moments where I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
and you want to share that with people. But that's how I think it should be done, man. Enough of these spoilers or wanting leaks or whatever. It's more fun to just sit there and be surprised in the moment. And I don't know why you want to do that to yourself by seeking out spoilers. Maybe some people don't care about the surprise, but I think it's just so much more fun to sit there and have no idea what's going to happen. And then that feeling of elation when it's something that's so cool that you weren't even expecting to happen.
I agree.
My only beef with this is does it look like there's underwater levels? Because
yeah,
ew.
there's underwater. Yeah,
there's no game that's ever given me an underwater level that I've enjoyed. I'm just gonna throw that out there, but hopefully it's just a small chunk of the game.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And I might love it. I've not played it.
It's changing up exploration. So, that's a part of the world we didn't really explore in the last one because there was no water area. So now we're just kind of
a waterproof robot. I don't know.
Yeah. So we're exploring new ground.
I guess.
So that's all.
Well, I can't say only good things about stuff, you see. I just saw underwater and I'm like, that was my takeaway. So let's talk about the big event. I was surprised. I had bets it wasn't going to happen. As the trailer was winding down at the end. I still just didn't think they were, man.
To do
so I had to
all
eat my
that.
crow.
No, to do all that and not show the console. Come on. That would have been the biggest middle finger. They might as well have gotten Jim Ryan up there saying, you want to see the PlayStation console? Here's 2 of them for you. And then just throwing up his fingers.
I wasn't convinced. They've been doing things so strange this go around that I agree. I was surprised. Let's put it that way. That was one when that trailer started at the end. I'm like, oh my God, are they gonna? And then they went over the controller. I'm like, are we setting up the controller again? Because we've seen that. And then it started doing all this fancy stuff. I'm like, oh my God, is it happening? And that was the moment I wish you and I were sitting next to each other. Because when it started, I'm like, oh! And I just started laughing and clapping. I'm like, we actually saw this bitch. So what do you think? I don't know. The design it's interesting.
It stands apart. It
really does. Yeah.
It's not something that we've seen. It's unique. I think it's sleek. I think it's sexy. And you compare it to that box that Microsoft whipped out. Come on. Who doesn't want something sleek, slim, and fancy versus this big fucking box?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I've been one like the design, whatever. I want it to run well. I want it to play well. And they're just getting more massive and massive as we go along. And I mean, this one looks like it's going to be even bigger than like the PlayStation 3 original was. If you remember how big that bad boy was. Yeah. Especially coming off of the 2 Slim. You're like, what the crap is this box? But it looks like it's going to be even taller if you're going to stand it upright. And then they showed that it could be laid on its side as well. We got 2 different designs. You could go discless or one with the optical drive, which will change the shape of it a little bit, obviously to make way for, you know, the optical drive to fit.
Sure. I gotta admit, when it came down to that, I started debating. Like, I've never really considered all that much about getting a discless PlayStation, but it almost made sense to me now because
it's divided the room.
Yeah, because I have nothing against discs, and I do have a few discs on my shelf, but a majority of my games are digital only. They have, I mean, not that you can't get them on disc, but I mean,
right.
I just have,
convenience of just buying it right then and there is
because it's there, and I can't think of a game that I cannot get digitally.
Right.
And I know there are exceptions, like Deadpool. Right now, if I wanted to play that, I'd have to go get a disc.
Yeah.
Because they've removed it from all the things and whatnot. Fine, but at the same time, I don't feel like I've missed something. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, it would have been cool to play and all, but I don't feel like I missed anything.
That's the one area for some reason I remain stubborn on, and I don't know why. Like consoles, I feel like I want to buy the physical game, and I don't know why. Like, I've accepted it with my PC games. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't remember the last time you don't get a lot of opportunities to buy hard copies of PC games anymore. Mm-hmm. Very rarely at all, if at all. Our music, we've completely moved to digital and none of us bats an eye at it. But for some reason, that last hanging on of like a brick and mortar game store upsets me. I don't know why. That's the one area that I hang on, but I get it. Like, I probably still buy more digital now than with everything else. It's just like the convenience of not having all the clutter. But for some reason, in my mind, I feel like when I have a console, I want the physical copy of the game.
I think it comes down to the industries, what we've seen. Because movie industry, they're...
I mean, I get it, yeah.
I'm still pro physical copy with that. I think mainly because it's the streaming a movie. I know that my internet can crap out every now and again. Maybe I'm getting this choppy picture. So if I know I want to get the best quality version of that, I'm going to just get a 4K disc, plop it in my player, and watch the best quality version without ever having to worry about streaming.
Running out.
You know? So movies, that's where I kind of have my reasoning for keeping physical copies. I do like having digital copies just for sheer convenience. Like if I'm laying in bed and I don't want to go grab a disc and I'm just like, hey, I got it right there. And I can just hit play. There is that convenience to it. And that's what this comes down to. But stuff we've seen here recently about what is it? The licensing rights and who can have this and who can have that. And then you don't technically own your game. And it's like, but I paid money for it. I paid the same amount of money for it that everybody else did. I just got a digital copy. What right do you have to tell me that I don't own that game? I own that game. Yeah.
I think that's the other big kicker too. If for whatever reason any of these storefronts, or anything like that goes down, there goes everything with it. Do I fear like Steam or any of those are just going to belly up? I don't. And if it is, it would probably be so far into the future that I may not even care at that point because all those games I probably wouldn't be playing anymore. But that's a real concern. And I think it's just maybe the old school in me that's just hanging on because like really and truly it does make sense to move forward. We've kind of accepted it with everything else. But I like that they're giving you the option. I know some people are like, oh, you just want to make more money because you're not burning physical copies of games and charging the same price. And that could be, too. But I mean, they did make a good point. More people are moving towards that naturally, just on their own. It's not, these companies necessarily trying to push that out. And I'm sure that's a nice benefit for them.
I mean, think of it like this. It has to be a cheaper version of the console.
That was what I was going to say. Like, the price might make all the difference. Some people might want to pay that extra $100 to have the option, and that's fine. If that's the obviously, there's no price. We don't know yet.
And flip-flopping on that, I'm going to use Todd as an example. Hopefully he's listening. He can agree. Okay, say I get a digital only, and he gets the, with the full, disk drive, whatever. I understand why he would get the disk drive because, as we've mentioned numerous times on the show before, his internet is shit.
It would take him 10 days to download a game.
Yeah, so he has no other option. He has to have that physical copy because that's the only thing that makes any sense to him. He has, otherwise he can't play a game.
Right.
So I understand that he needs that. I do not have that problem.
Right.
Even prior to having better internet now, I didn't really have that problem. I could still download. It would take a while, but it wasn't a.
You could
set
it
a big
at night,
beef.
and by the morning you were good or something. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it a big deal? However, flip flopping again. If I only got the digital copy, I couldn't borrow games from him anymore.
That's true too.
So I would be kind of stuck. So I was like, what do I want to do? Because I mean, he is kind of my go-to when it comes to a newer game. And trust me, it's not that I don't want to buy these games, but there's that convenience. He's got it. He's like, hey,
and it
you
might be a game
it?
you're never going to touch again anyway. So
yeah, so I'm just
to get to play it.
I mean, Days Gone. I would have probably played that at some point, but it was just wasn't on the top of my to-do list. And he was just like, you want to borrow it? Sure. I got it. Put it in. Boom. Done. I played it. Gave it back to him. Am I going to play it again? Probably not, because I did all I'm going to do on the game.
Right.
So
I mean, it makes sense, and I hear what people are saying. I do hear you, but it doesn't sound like they're negating it altogether. So if you are like in Todd's position where you're like, I need the disc, it looks like that is still going to be an option. I don't know what more we could really tell from it. We didn't get to see the back of the system, so we're not sure of what all connections and everything we're going to have in the back of it. But we did see one USB-C and then the A standard one there on the front. So that's it, other than the power button, or if you had the optical drive, what looks like those sensitive touch buttons, They did show off some accoutrements that could go along with it, though. That was probably the other big takeaway outside of just seeing the system itself. Looks like there's a charging station for like your for more than one controller, Pulse 3D wireless headset, an HD camera, and media remote. If you're the type that likes to have one remote to kind of connect all of that together. But yeah, as we said, no price yet. It was fun to get surprised at the reveal. I have to say, it was fun. I still kind of had it in the back of my head. We weren't just yet, but I was. So I'm glad I thought that, because it was probably an even bigger surprise to me, because I was like, nope, they're not going to do it. So I guess just taking guesses on how much you think this bad boy is going to cost. Yeah, there was a leak this week on Amazon. I don't know how this keeps happening, but it's come out saying it was a mistake and all this kind of stuff, which I think it was like $5.99 or something like that was on the
leak price. It was more than that. But yeah.
Oh, maybe. But I mean, I'm expecting probably about that price point.
Yeah. And seeing that's the price point where I'm going to be like.
I mean, it's going to be tough to grapple with, I think, especially when you got like a Switch at $300. But again, I mean, comparing what the two can do is just stupid. Don't even do it. But yeah, that's and especially coming off of a year where a lot of us were probably furloughed for most of it. Well, Sony knows. I mean, the whole world dealt with this. So, yeah, that was exciting. And I don't know if you heard this, just kind of go out on the podcast with a conspiracy theory for you.
Okay.
There were a lot of people, or a good chunk of people, who didn't even think the presenters were real on the Sony event.
No,
There's a good chunk of people who thought it was all CGI.
No.
I'm going to say no. I'm sorry if graphics have gotten so good that there's that small chunk of you now who can't tell the difference. You could tell the lighting was probably weird. A lot of people, they're recording from home. You could tell like the big head honcho guys look like they tried to get some sort of, uniform background so they would stand apart from when you're talking to the developers as opposed to like people at Sony, the big execs or whatever. But I think it was real people, y'all. If you're one of those that's like out there on Twitter or on Reddit and like, no, not real people. I hate to tell you, I'm pretty sure they said it was. And I didn't even think that for a second.
No, there's no way.
But I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe another weird news little thing right there. There was a good chunk of people having long conversations about how they swore that the presenters themselves were even CGI. Now, if you were talking about Mark Cerny, I kind of thought that too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We just need a personality thrown in there. I get it. It was a tech thing. Like, it wasn't supposed to be this big bells and whistles kind of conference. But I was almost convinced that he wasn't real.
I am presenting the PlayStation.
But he's
Here's
just so
what
like,
it can do.
Yeah.
It's like, my God.
No emotions. Like, his voice hardly goes up and down. I was like, is that a robot?
Thank God they kept him out of this presentation.
He's probably just better for like the tech side of things. Like, I can explain it calmly. Developers know what you're talking about. They care about all that kind of stuff. So I think that's just on us for assuming it was going to be some big conference that I'm like, I am bored to tears. This is not stuff I'm ever going to look at. But yeah, so I guess happy E3, everybody.
Yeah.
There was a lot to unpack there. I think there's still with some stuff going on Sunday. So there's probably going to be some more stuff. Guerrilla Games, I think, has been doing kind of some stuff off and on. So if you're bored this week and you're into video games, there's probably a good 5, 6, 7, 8 hours worth of trailers to go back and check if you want to go watch everything that happened over the weekend. But unless you got anything else.
No, I'm good.
That's our show today, guys. Happy The Last of Us 2 release week. Hopefully we hear from y'all on how much you're enjoying the game. But yeah, you can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. Send us an email over at supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram. The gams. Look at those gams.
That's where the gammies go.
You can find us on Instagram to view our weekly icon art that Steven puts his time and love into. You can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. Tell your friends. Find us on Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Who listens to Pandora anymore? You got it on Pandora and even youtube.com/Pencil Paper Productions. Thank you for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I am Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.